name's Ernest, Gruel and Truth Radio Network, here with the star of the new documentary, Journeyman, Francisco Ciatso. Francisco, tell us a little bit about the new movie, or documentary.
It's actually, the crazy thing is, it's coming out today. Tonight we do the red carpet world premiere in Nashville at the Full Moon Cineplex in a little town, I guess you would call it a suburb of Nashville called Hermitage. We've got a red carpet world premiere tonight with, I guess what we call the star-studded event. VIPs, everybody from actual Jake Stevens, James Storm, and Crazy Steve, and Rebel, and of course, myself and my wife and beautiful co-star who's sitting right next to me, Stormy Lee. And it starts out about 2 years ago. We had moved to Nashville, Tennessee, to run a wrestling company for Jake Stevens, consequently. And everything fell through, for lack of a better term. It crashed and burned. Whatever term you want to use, whatever analogy you want to use, we walked into the foyer, had the rug pulled out from under us, whatever analogy you want to use to describe it, but we fell flat on our face. And at no fault of our own, it was the owner and I guess CEO at the time, I guess Arcadian Wrestling Alliance, Leo Hulan, who also owns one of the, I guess, largest bail bonds companies in Tennessee, was turned out to be just an out crook and sociopath and just absolutely out of her mind. Myself, Damian Wayne Costle, you're talking about people that moved across the country to do this with her and believed in what she said and really, really put everything 110% into this thing, and we're about to start filming a reality show, which was combined pro wrestling and bail bonds, which was kind of neat. The whole concept was fresh and new and innovative, never been done before, which is kind of hard to do in this business. Something that nobody's done before. Within about 2 months of moving to Nashville, everything up until that point had been fantastic. There's been no issues, no problems, and things kind of bumps in the road when you're starting a company, but for the most part, everything was running fantastic. The money was there, everything was good. One day we came into the office, and it was literally like we didn't exist any longer. We were both let go by the producer, or what was supposed to be the producer of the reality show. Handed over checks of about $4,000 to basically keep our mouth shut. It was basically hush money. There was a lot of shady stuff going on with this company. Grumpy's bail bonds and Leah Hulan, and just between her and her husband, and they were crooks. A lot of problems with them with the law. A lot of problems with them with news people came after them about somebody disappearing. There's all kinds of issues, problems that none of us knew about. And crazy thing is that we did our research before even moving here. They buried whatever was going on. They buried it. So that being said, we lost everything at that point. Myself and Stormy Lee had these checks, went and cashed them, and $4,000 doesn't last very long. We had believed in this person. We sold everything we had to get up here and start this new life and start this this whole project. And again, within roughly about 60 days, everything crashed and crumbled. We kind of left this year with nothing. And that's kind of where the documentary starts out, is that day. And it was a crazy day. I remember it vividly, with just a blank look on my wife's face and really having no answers for her. So it starts from that point, and it starts with myself and Stormy doing what we know how to do, and that's hit the road. We had come off the road for a couple of months to concentrate on Arcadian wrestling and building that company. And in doing so, of course, you kind of out of the loop. So we had to grab those rolling bags and hit the road. It wasn't easy. It was extremely difficult. I'm not going to give away too much because I want everybody to see it. But anyone who's watched the trailers, of course, we had complete maxed out credit cards. We had no, at one point I remember opening the fridge and we had no food in the fridge. That's not a boo-hoo. That's not a cry for attention or anything like that. It was legitimate. At one point, I had no answers for Stormy. I had no answers for myself or, what we were going to do. without any money. We had nothing. We had just what we were able to do indie-wise. And, I mean, I was taking bookings at the time for $20 if I had to, just to put food in the fridge. And, we met, of course, James Carver, who runs AWA New South in Franklin, Kentucky. And, I'm not an overly religious person, but thank God for him, because had it not been for him, we probably wouldn't have food in the fridge at that point. And from that point, it snowballed. And, Miss Rachel and Elsie Falk, who's, of course, Tony Falk's son and daughter-in-law, really took care of us in Destiny, up here in Nashville. And there was a lot of people that extended their hand and really helped us out a lot as far as, bookings, and Eric Wayne and even Chase, and he was going through a horrible time himself, almost lost his house because of this whole situation. And, he'd been raising two boys, a single dad for many years. Not a lot of people know that. So, a lot of us lost a lot. And, Stormy and I were about 30 days, if not closer, from being homeless. Our cars were about to be repoed, or, our cell phones were at the brink of being turned off. So we legitimately had nothing and did everything we could and didn't know how to do, which is wrestle. And we scratched and clawed and cried and fought some more and cried and bled and so on, and pulled ourselves out. And that's in a roundabout way. That's again, without giving away crazy details. That's what the movie Journeyman's about. And it's again, it's not a wrestling documentary. I've heard that mentioned a couple of times. That's the way it's listed at Full Moon Cineplex, because I guess they needed to put something there as far as what it was or what they thought it was or is. It's not a wrestling documentary. It's far from it. It's not about pro wrestling whatsoever. We just happen to be two pro wrestlers that fell on extremely hard times and pulled ourselves out doing what we know how to do, and that's entertain the masses. Of course, myself and Stormy Lee go by the Bonnie and Clyde of pro wrestling. So, how ironic, the Bonnie and Clyde, of course, were taken down by the long arm of the law, and here we are going on the offensive, as to quote-unquote criminals of the professional wrestling world. So, it's an interesting story, but it's definitely not a wrestling story. It's one that I hope if somebody watches it, they can, for lack of a better term, I guess just get inspired by it. Everyone falls on hard times, whether it's health, whether it's financial, divorce, you name it, depression, anything that's going on in somebody's life. Everyone's fighting a struggle that you don't know about. So this is that story, and there's a little bit of everything. You're going to laugh, you're going to cry, you're going to, get inspired, you're going to, want to go punch a punching bag, you're going to want to go lift weights, you're going to want to, get in your car and drive across country. So there's a little bit of something for everybody.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like you were saying that it's kind of a cross between a story of overcoming adversity and a little bit of a love story as well.
It absolutely is, and it's the one. I remember when Paul Stewart invited us to lunch. I just told this story the other day. When he invited us to lunch, we were broke. We had no money. He invited us to TGI Fridays. So he said, "Hey, I got a project for you." Well, being in the pro wrestling business, you roll your eyes. When anybody says they got a project, you roll your eyes, and you roll them deep, because it's going to either cost you money or they're going to be full of BS, and it's not going to, it's never going to pan out the way somebody ever says it does. So, Stormy, bless her heart, we literally scrounged up change. And again, I'm not joking when I tell you this. We literally went to TGI Fridays with change in our pocket, and with the intention of hopefully not having to order food, because it was embarrassing. And Paul knew me from Florida. We worked on a couple projects in Florida together, with a couple wrestling companies and some commercials and so on. And he's a fantastic director and videographer. Well, first words out of his mouth is, "Hey, I want to tell your story. I heard what happened, and I really want to tell your story." And I remember I laughed at it, because I didn't know what else to do. I'm embarrassed. So I laughed, and I was like, "We didn't tell my story. Who wants to hear this dumb story? Like, this is terrible. Like, this is not even a rags to riches or riches to rags. It's just embarrassing. I should have known better." And he explained himself, and we sat there for about 2 hours. He explained to me what his vision was and what he wanted to do with our story. And he said, I want to be the one to tell it. I think it's a fantastic story. And he was not just because I know you, but because it's a great story, and it's something I think could really help other people. And me and Stormy agreed, and we signed a handshake agreement that day. Was he was going to incur, of course, all the production costs. Anything that had to be done with the movie, he was going to do himself at his production company, 316 Productions. And that's another thing I asked him. I was like, how much is this thing going to cost me? Because, as of right now, I remember I grabbed my pocket. I said, you hear that sound? I said, that's the sound of change in my pocket. I don't have any money to give you. And he laughed at me, and he goes, I don't want your money. He goes, I don't need your money. He goes, I'll take care of everything myself. So the only thing I need is your time. You sleep on the floor, I'll sleep on the floor. You sleep in your car, I'm going to sleep in my car. So I'm going to follow you for about 6 months or, however long this takes to get this story and get it right. And I'm going to go, into production and edit it together. And when we get done, he goes, we're going to have ourselves something that's going to have some legs. And, it's going to be something that nobody else has done before because, you can get on Netflix and Hulu or online anywhere, DVDs, and you can find tons of wrestling documentaries because they're all over the place. And there's nothing wrong with them. They're fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with them. But this is more of a life story with two people that just happen to be wrestlers.
What originally got you interested in wrestling?
Oh, man. Well, wow. I was in martial arts when I was a kid. And, I remember I went to a video store to go rent a Bruce Lee movie. And, I had watched and dabbled in kind of like championship wrestling from Florida with Gordon Soley, I'd watched like the WWF cartoon when I was a kid, but I was more into martial arts and boxing. And when I went to go rent a movie called Enter the Dragon, which of course was kind of showing my age when we talk about renting movie stores. And it wasn't. I'm not old. Quiet. Somebody's call me old. I'm not old. I'm an antique. I'm shiny. So. And we like to use the term grizzled in wrestling, very grizzled. But in the movie, Enter the Dragon wasn't there, but right next to it was WrestleMania 3. And it was Hogan and Andre on the cover, and I was like, oh, wow, that was actually from the cartoon. So I rented that. And from that point forward, I was hooked. I was in love. Like I was from the first match, on that card on, 93,000 Pontiac Silverdome. And I started watching championship wrestling in Florida more and more, and then watching WWF. And then I went to my first live event. I saw Wahoo McDaniel and Lex Luger for the Southern title at Eddie Graham Sports Stadium. And it was just, I was in love at that point. It was just everything from the psychology, the way Hogan captivated a crowd when he walked through, curtain at Boston Garden or Madison Square Garden or Philadelphia Spectrum. Or, again, showing my age. I Stormy like old. It was just amazing to me. I didn't know what I was looking at or what I was fascinated with because I was a kid. All I knew was that when Hogan won, that crowd went crazy. When he was getting beat up, they were booing and crying. And that absolutely fascinated me, captivated me as a little kid. And I knew what I wanted to do at a very young age. And that's something that we touch on in the movie as well. About where how I came about this whole crazy circus life that my wife and I share. As the Bunny Clyde of pro wrestling.
So, who trained you along the way?
I was trained by the legendary exotic Adrian Street and Miss Linda down in Gulf Breeze in Pensacola, Florida. Stormy Lee was trained by Bonnie Rain Maxon from TNA fame, as well as Japan. I trained with Adrian been with him for about 8 months, give or take, and might have actually been closer to a year, but I think it was about all in, going backwards and going back and forth towards the end, was close to a year that I lived in Gulf Breeze, Pensacola, Florida. Stormy trained for about a year under Bonnie Rain as well, and also while being on the road with me. So Adrian's training was extremely tough. I mean, it was some of the toughest training I ever had. And that even goes in martial arts and playing football and so on. Nothing came close to the training that Adrian would put us through. I was up at 5 o'clock in the morning with a run walk to the beach, 2 miles, come back and Hindu squats, do all our exercises, and we'd hook and shoot wrestle, and then we'd get started. Then we'd do that till noon, and then we'd break for a half hour, little lunch, and then we go back to work and until 5 o'clock, and that was Monday. That was every day. I think we had Sundays off, and I would take us to a little buffet there called Barn Hills. He would take all the treaties, and that was it. Yeah, Stormy was set up. She was not a big fan of Barn Hills, but I loved it because I was a fat kid, so I just wanted to eat. And I was broke. I was a kid. I was 19, 20 years old, so I would eat once a day. So I didn't have a ton of money in med school, so my friend Stu Allen, who was about a dominator over in Europe, we joke about to this day because he was in school as well. We had Garfield hoops and Odie basketballs. We had these horrible Chef Boyardee cans and these Bubba burgers. And every time I see Bubba burgers, I want to puke because I ate them for like 6 months straight. And we would put these horrible hamburgers in with this SpaghettiOs and eat this, and it was just terrible. It was just so bad. But you do what you got to do when you're coming up and trying to make it, trying to make your way.
It sounds like quite intense training, kind of similar to like the dungeon.
It's very similar, and that's what a lot of people have actually compared it. Not quite as scary as the dungeon, but I think they compared a lot of Adrian's training methods as far as the hook and shoot. Adrian was just a fantastic, and I say is. I mean, he's 80 years old. He looks like he could step onto an IFBB bodybuilding stage right now. But he was one of the most dangerous men in the business at the time. And not standing, he wasn't big in stature. He was 5'5", 5'6", maybe 190, 200 pounds at best. And Miss Linda was equally as tough, if not tougher in some aspects. And a lot of our training came from hook and shoot. And I tell any of my students that I have at the WWN Training Center in Largo, I explain to them, for the first 4 or 5 months, I forgot there was ropes even on the ring. I never hit them. We learned to hit them. Everything was hook and shoot. And I had martial arts and jiu-jitsu background, but nothing like this whatsoever, not even close.
I read somewhere that you were also coached up by Bill DeMont and Brother Love, Tom Pritchard.
I absolutely was. Bill DeMont was my coach at the former WWE developmental called Deep South. It was out of McDonough, Georgia. It's just south of Atlanta. I was there for roughly about 2 years, off and on, trying to get a job, trying to get signed, and one of the other coaches there was another fantastic British hooker and shooter, was Dave Taylor, and I just have to correct you real quick. It was Tom Pritchard, so Dr. Tom Pritchard. Brother Loves, of course, is his brother, Bruce Pritchard. But you were close. Tom Pritchard was after Bill had left. Tom Pritchard took over, and he was my coach for maybe about 6 months, 5 months. I think of my tenure there. I was Deep South. But I learned so much under Bill, and I credit so much of him, to my training methods.
I was going to say,
people I reached out to.
You've been to a wide variety of leagues. You from there going to TNA and then Ring of Honor.
Yeah, absolutely. I spent about 4 or 5 years off and on in Nashville and Orlando when TNA originally had started at the, I guess what I would call the Nashville Fairgrounds Arena, or they would call it the Asylum, whatever you want to call it. It's the legendary Nashville Fairgrounds Arena, right in the outskirts of downtown. I remember, I think that's, if I'm not mistaken, their first pay-per-view, Eric Watts. Second one, if I'm not mistaken, 3 Live Crew, and then from there I just traveled. I was living in Florida, so I would travel up here, and then when we had tapings in Orlando, I would do Orlando tapings. It was all through Ron Neamy, who was in contact with, of course, Bill Behrens, and Bill ran the back and handled a lot of the non-contract talent that was coming in and trying to get jobs. So that was a really cool time, and towards the end of that is when I went to Deep South, so it was kind of neat. I was on WWE TV, for Deep South and TNA TV, so it was kind of like back in the 90s when a lot of the guys were doing jobs and enhancement work and so on. They were on both TVs, WCW and WWE, all-time WWF. So I've got a ton that, I owe a ton to, of course, Ron Neamy, my mentor for years and years and years with IPW Hardcore. I honestly, if there was no Ron Neamy, there'd probably be no me. As far as the level that I got to. And then after that, of course, Bill DeMont, was just kind of my polishing coach. He was rough, he was tough, still is. Anytime I need advice as far as I reached out to when the documentary was finished to take a look at some of the scenes and sneak peeks and to get his opinion. And I can honestly say he gave me a thumbs up, which if anybody knows Bill DeMott, knows that those don't come very often and they don't come easy. So if you get a thumbs up from Bill, you did something good.
Exactly. Yeah, he seems like one that would be a little difficult to get praise from. Is that the case?
Absolutely, and that's not necessarily a bad thing either, because it's we live in a culture and a time where everyone gets a trophy, a participation trophy thing. And, I come from a completely different time frame. I told Stormy the story, and I tell it to my students, and whenever I tell it, Stormy rolls her eyes because she's heard it 1,000 times. But when I was maybe 10 or 12 years old, I got in trouble at the bus stop. I got into a fight with a brother and sister, and I didn't need to fight, but I did, and I hurt them both. I spin kicked one in the face, whatever it was, and I got in trouble, got suspended, and so I show up to the dojo. Chester Holdecki was my sensei and Ishimura Karate, and I show up and he hands me a bucket of soap water and a toothbrush. Not a bristle brush, not a big brush, not a mop, but big bucket, soap water, and a toothbrush. Dojo 4, and he goes, in Dojo 4. And I was wondering why my mom had packed me a duffel bag for the weekend. Well, I spent the weekend cleaning the Dojo 4 with a toothbrush from Friday night to Sunday night as my penance and as my reprimand for using something I didn't need to use because I could have walked away. So I was used to that tough love from having a sensei like that. So of course going to Adrian was no problem. I was used to it. And with Bill, same thing. I was used to it. A lot of guys that complained, bitched, moaned. Well, Bill's mean to me, and he's like, well, he's supposed to be tough. Pro wrestling's not an easy business. Not only do you have to be physically prepared, but you have to be mentally prepared. The mental part's so much harder than the physical. Physical pain goes away. But you're away from your families, you're away from your wife, your kids, your friends, your home, everything, and you create this bond, with the other wrestlers, and now they call them brothers. I was used to do that, but you create this bond with this other family that you have and you build, and it's but it's still a very, very taxing business to be a part of for the mind and the body as well. But to me, the mental part is so much harder, and that's part of Bill's job as a coach. Just like it would be for a football coach, or a boxing coach. You think Cus D'Amato wasn't hard on Mike Tyson? He was harder on Mike Tyson than he was his own children, if he even had them. I don't even know if Cus D'Amato had any kids, but he was extremely tough on Mike Tyson because he had to be. In order for Mike Tyson to be world champion, he had to be tough on him because if he wasn't mentally prepared going into a fight, he's already lost. If you're not mentally prepared for this business, you've already lost. So one of the things I teach my students at the WNTC is mental preparedness. I tell them all the time, a monkey can do a body, so I can teach anybody to bump. I can teach anybody body slam, suplex. That's easy. The mental stuff, the mental stress, the dangling of carrots, the ups and downs, the dolphin effect of this lifestyle, and trying to make it in the entertainment industry, the sporting industry is again extremely taxing on the mind. Throw in their wives, girlfriends, kids, grandparents, friends, drugs, all kinds of stuff, and you have yourself a big, conundrum, a push-pull effect that a lot of people have a hard time dealing with.
With TNA, any matches or experiences with Abyss?
Yeah, I did. I actually wrestled Abyss twice, I think. I think once was on the Indies, and then once was. And it's funny you brought up Abyss because I was just telling this story the other day about TV times. We just filmed Ring Warriors in Las Vegas, and I was like, so many guys have a hard time with when they, what we consider calling it in the ring or whatever, without peeling back the curtain. We have certain terms that we use, and a lot of guys have trouble dealing with thinking on their feet. And that's to me, that's a life lesson, not even a pro wrestling lesson. But I remember when we were at the Impact Arena or studio in Orlando, and Bill Behrens was running Gorilla. And I'm standing behind. This is when they had the 2 chutes that you would go out. So standing in my chute, ready for my cue. Bill Behrens is like, okay, thank you. You got 4.5. No commercials. Going straight through. Yes, sir. Music hits. I take 2 steps. He goes, wait. You're cut to 1.5 minutes. Dusty went over, or somebody went over with their promo. So I just got cut from 4.5 to 1.5. Now, that's with entrance. So I had to run my fat rear end up through a chute, down through the smoke, down, get in the ring. By the time I stepped foot on the apron, Abyss was already 3/4 of the way to the ring. He jumps in, and I just start going to town on him. 37 seconds later, we're home. And I'm standing back. I'm walking back through the chute. And Bill Behrens is like, I'm sorry. But hey, you got to do what you got to do. But that's my Abyss story from TNA.
Wow, that is a good one. Because like you say in the intro or the preview for the documentary about, it's not about winning and losing. It's about doing it for the fans, and definitely selling it for the fans, and that would be a great example of it. Being willing to give your time up, your extra 3 minutes, which could have told more of a story to the match, but something that you had to do for the company.
Absolutely, and it's I see it more so on the indies than I do when I was doing anything, WWF or WWE or TNA or Ring of Honor or WWN related. I see it more so on the indies, and we're, again, there's a term, and I'm trying not to put any money in the curse jar, so Stormy always smacks me because I got to wash my mouth. They get their stuff in, guys. Everyone wants to get their stuff in. But it's not always about that. You got to know where you're at on the card. If you're an opening match, 5 to 7 minutes, curtain to curtain. By the time you both come to the ring and your announcements are made, you're lucky if you've got 5 minutes in that ring. So that's not a lot of time. Guys try to fit 15 minutes worth of a match of moves and story into 5 minutes. It doesn't work that way. Just like you can't read Moby Dick in an hour. You can't fit 15 minutes of stuff into 5 minutes. It doesn't work that way. So you gotta, it's not about you. I think I said, I can't remember the exact quote, but it's not about me. It's not about the guys in the back. It's about those people sitting in the crowd. It's not that kid, who wants to see, the natural Chase Stevens just kick the ever living hell out of me. They want to see, Bonnie Max and throw Stormy from one end of that building to the other. That's what it's about. It's about creating memories that'll last a lifetime. And so as cheesy as that sounds, I can't remember finishes to matches. I can't remember anything from when I was a kid, but I can remember how I felt when Hogan came to the ring in the what was the Orlando Arena. I can remember what Macho Man Randy Savage, what I felt like when I saw him come to the ring. I can remember how I felt. I can't remember how the matches ended. So that's what this business is about. Everything we do is based on emotion and psychology and taking people out of their seats and putting them in the ring and making them feel what we feel. Whether you're cheered or booed, as long as there's a quote I'll steal a quote from Jim Ross, as long as there's an ass every 18 inches, that's what matters. They can boo me all day long. If you're buying a ticket, please boo me every day, twice on Sunday. That's my job. So with no Joker, there's no Batman. There's no Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader. It's good versus evil. So art imitates life. Wrestling imitates life.
So with the grind that you do, about how many matches a year and about how many matches total have you done?
Oh man, I couldn't even begin to tell you. I just know that I'm on average. I can tell you that we're on the road on average Thursday to Sunday. On average, 3 to 4 shows a week sometimes. So you can go ahead and do the math. I've got to keep one hand on my phone, one hand on the steering wheel, so I wouldn't be able to do the math on a calculator. But it's a lot, and it's driving. not a lot of flights. We fly to New York, every 6 weeks, for WWN and for USA Pro. We're starting to, Texas, flights. I go to Vegas for a flight, of course, but the majority of our travel's in the car. So that's what hurts. The wrestling don't hurt. It's the travel. It's not only time consuming, but it's taxing on your body. It's rammed into a car, and you're bumping and taking these shots, body slams, and so on and so forth, banging yourself up, and or going to the gym, wherever the case may be, and then you're crammed in the car for 6, 8, 10, 12. In one instance, a year ago, when we had the unenviable task of driving to Topeka, Kansas from Florida. That was quite possibly the longest drive of my life, and I ever want to make that drive again. It's one of the most boring states in the entire world. So, the travel that we do is grueling. And, I get to do it with my best friend and my wife and my partner. So, but that only goes so far, too. There's some days where she, wants to push me out of the car while it's moving, and understandable. And vice versa, a lot of it. It's not easy on anybody that travels. I don't care who you are. We just got lucky. I guess lucky would be. I feel lucky. I don't know if she feels lucky, but I feel lucky that we get to do this together. There's a lot of guys that I know that are in this business that have very hard times relationship-wise because their wife isn't in this. They don't understand the passion. They don't understand the drive to make it. And in this business or any form of entertainment or sport, you've got to put 110% into what you're doing. And sometimes that doesn't leave a whole lot of extra time, effort, smiles, laughter, energy, thought, after you get done. So, a lot of times your wife or husband or kids or brother or whoever, gets the kind of the crap end of the stick, with their loved one, and it's not fair. But it's the life that we chose. We miss a lot of things. We miss a lot of birthdays. We miss weddings. Unfortunately, we miss funerals. We miss all kinds of things because we're wrestlers and we're on the road and we're entertainers and we chose this life. So not to be cliche, we chose the life. The life, the life didn't choose us. We chose it. We decided to do this. We decide to do it every day. We decided to do it today. At any point, we can quit and walk away. I hear guys very bitter, very angry, blame the business. You can't blame the business. You can't blame anything. You make decisions, man, woman, whatever the case may be. You make decisions based on what you choose to do. If you want to hang up your boots, hang them up. But you can't blame the business for anything. So, but the travel, is just, it's, sometimes I don't know how we do it. I just know that by the time Sunday or Monday rolls around and we get home, we crash. We just melt into the bed, and nobody sees us for a couple days until we have to do it all over again.
You've had a 16+ year career. At what point in your career did you become the Southeast Gangster? At what point did you become the King of the Southeast?
Both of those happened kind of like, I guess, happenstance, I guess would be the word. The King of the Southeast, I had won King of the State tournament back maybe 2009, 2010, I can't remember, for a company that was run by Billy Wood, the original vintage wrestling in Florida, Orlando, Florida area. And I had a King of the State tournament, and I won that. Some of the top guys in the state, Tokyo Monster Kahagas was in there, Marquis. I won that tournament, and from that point, I was called the King of the State, what the term was, I guess, the title. Well, I would go to Alabama and Georgia, and we're okay, and one of the announcers had named me King of the South, and I was like, God, it just makes me sound like I should have like a rebel flag on my back or something. Like, it's weird. I'm a New York guy, gangster, and I just kind of morphed into King of the Southeast. And then it was a broader spectrum. I can get away with a little bit more as far as, I'm a king of a bigger area. I'm not just king of Florida. I want to be king of Florida. I want to be king of the whole Southeast, right? So that's how that that kind of morphed. And then the Southeast Gangster portion was when we had moved to Nashville. We couldn't do the King and Queen character monikers because it was very King Shane and Queen Taylor appears. So Chase Stevens called me and goes, "Hey, I need to put your thinking cap on. You guys can't do the King and Queen gimmick up here." And I was like, well hell, that's what we've been doing the last couple of years. We kind of had to switch gears. And Stormy and I were laying in bed one night watching Netflix, and Bonnie and Clyde 6-episode or 8-episode story had come on, the new one, a couple of years old, and we watched that, and literally both of us looked at each other, 2 light bulbs went off. One light bulb went off in her head, mine was coming in. And they were like, "That's it, we got it." And all right, catch Chase, and he goes, "Perfect, let's do it, roll with it." And so, of course, again, we had that moniker. So, Stormy was the Italian bad girl, and, I couldn't do the Italian bad boy because there was already some, schlep from Georgia called the Italian bad boy. So I was like, well, I'll take the Southeast gimmick. I'm a gangster of the whole Southeast, like a mob boss. I'm a mob boss of the whole damn family. So I just took it upon myself to make myself the Southeast gangster. But mainly what we go by is Bonnie and Clyde Pro Wrestling. Of course, that's what everyone knows us by now.
Where and when will people be able to see this movie?
Well, if you're lucky enough to have gotten tickets, which I don't want to jinx it, but from what my Justin Sanders, the head of my PR team and promotions team for Journeyman, that advised me of yesterday was that all of the VIP tickets are sold out. So what's left are just the general admission tickets, and there's not many of those left. It's a smaller theater. It's only about 117 seats, I believe, in this one theater. So it's pretty close to sold out right now. But you can always call the ticket. You can always call the box office at Full Moon Cineplex in Nashville. And in parentheses, Hermitage. It just sounds weird. Hermitage sounds weird. It sounds like a weird. I don't know why. It just sounds like a weird town. So I just say Nashville. It sounds a lot cooler. But that being said, they can see it tonight, of course. And then after that, we've got Florida on the horizon. So that's going to be in October, and the date will be announced by my promotions team in the next, maybe the next week or two, as far as the date. And then we've got West Virginia on the horizon after that. And for the most part, sky's the limit. We're going to be doing things a little backwards. Where most people would go straight for the film festivals and so on. We're kind of taking a little bit of a leap of faith here, and we're going after some of the independent film or the independent movie theaters across the country, and trying to piggyback with any wrestling companies as well as WrestleCons, WrestleCades, WrestleFests, all those things, and to pitch us as part of their Comic Con or whatever the case may be, and just going a completely different direction. Where again, just like the movie itself, it's something that's never been done before. And people say, "Oh, well, it's wrestling documentary." Well, it's not. It's a life story of two people. And you said it earlier with a sprinkling of a little love story. And because consequently, Stormy and I weren't married at the time. We had gotten engaged while this hell we were living in, was going on, and so they, and ended up getting married. Towards the end, when everything had started panning out. So it's kind of a crash and rise story is what I like to call it. But they're going to be able to see it tonight. Hermitage is going to be lit up. You like that sort of? See, I use the young terms now. It's going to be lit. It's going to be lit. Hermitage is going to be lit. Lit. Dog lit. Eric Wayne will listen to it. He's going to shake his head. Stormy's completely disgusted, but it's lit. I'm gonna twerk and it's going to be lit. All kinds of, is that a cool term?
You got me.
She called me an idiot, so I guess I'm an idiot.
Yeah, I was going to say you got me. I'm in the same age bracket, so I'm not 100% sure what the young people are saying nowadays either.
I have no idea. Anybody who uses "they," I want to slap in the face. That's a big pet peeve of mine. Don't say "they." I don't even know what that means. Like when I hear "they," I think of like a bay with water or Old Bay when I put on fish. Outside of that, I don't know what "they" is. Like you're that lazy that baby it's too long. Like you're that lazy. You got to take away the Y and completely change the whole word and make it BAE. That's not even a word. I don't know what that is. Maybe it's some Urban Dictionary somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah, they do some darn stuff. If fans of yours, they see the movie, they see the documentary, and they become big fans, where on the web can they get, merch, tees of you and the missus?
Oh man, they can find myself and Stormy Lee, of course, Stormy Lee on Facebook, Francisco Ciatso at Facebook, Journeyman Film is what they would have to type into to Facebook. Of course, they can reach us on Twitter at Francisco Ciatso and Stormy Lee 327 for Twitter. Our Instagram is Francisco Ciatso and Stormy Lee is Stormy Lee 327 as well on Instagram. So they can reach. So we are going to have Journeyman merch. It's going to be hot. It's going to be hot. It's going to sell like Ronnie said. It's going to sell like a hot cake. We'll put an S at the end of that. It's going to be hot cakes. But our merch is going to be available soon for Journeyman. So we're getting everything rocking and rolling, and we're going to go down for a couple weeks after this premiere and get everything set for Florida. And then once we announce Florida, it's going to be wheels down, and we're just also off from that point forward.
Sounds great. Before we let you go, just some final thoughts about the documentary.
Well, we're extremely, I guess for lack of a better term, again, I'm not a religious person, but it's blessed. We're extremely fortunate, to have the opportunity we have right now to do this and be a part of this, and bless you. That Stormy just sneezed, right? Again, the whole blessing thing. Bless you. We're extremely fortunate to have the opportunities we have. Paul Stewart and his vision with 316 Productions was, and again, it's not like I'm showing it because it's mine, and I guess in a sense I am, because of course I'm biased, but anybody could have done this, and it wouldn't have come out the way it came out. Paul Stewart, his vision was just absolutely through the roof, and, out of this world, and I can't thank him enough for not letting me walk out of TGI Fridays that day, laughing at him with a pocket full of change. Our PR team and promotions group right now is just Justin DeSand, James Carver, and Kevin Martin of L29 Designs are they're just absolutely unbelievable with the work that they're doing, and all on their own time. They're not asking for a dime. They're not looking for money. They're happy to be part of Team Journeyman, and I hope that and I say I hope. I am optimistic, but there's still a little pessimistic side of me too. I hope that one day I'm able to take care of them the way that they've taken care of me and taken care of Stormy and this movie, and doing it simply because they believe, and there's not that many people out there like my group that will do things for the simple love of it, and a lot of us had met due to unfortunate circumstances because of everything that had cracked and crumbled, but that these are the people that stick with you and extend that hand and have really done such a fantastic job. Justin DeSand of WrestleTopia is out of this world in promoting. I've never seen a promotions machine like him. Like it's like you wind him up and he doesn't stop. Every time I look at my phone, there's another notification from somewhere about he was why I was late talking to you was I had another podcast that scheduled and that he had set up, and he's got me scheduled all next week for podcasts, and I'm going to be doing L20 or I call it L29. This company with Kevin Martin is setting us up with Fox in Nashville, and a lot of these news people that want to do some stories on it, short stories on this movie documentary. So I can't say enough good things about it. And again, it sounds like I'm showing it because it's mine. But if it was anybody else who was your story, I would say the same exact thing. It's just an amazing story about two people, two pro wrestlers that happen to be in a relationship that fell on extremely hard times. And if we can inspire or help one person to get through something, then we did our job. And that's really my goal. Mark Houchin, who works for New South, in Kentucky, we're sitting at a restaurant. He goes, "Well, what's the whole point? What did you do this for?" And nobody really asked me that question. Up until that, like, what is it? What is the point? What's the goal? What's your end game? And I said, I just want to inspire somebody. I want somebody to be able to look at this and watch this and go, okay, I can get through whatever I'm getting through. Whether it doesn't matter what it is. I don't care if it's addiction, depression, financial, whatever it is. You can get through it, and we're proof that she's sitting here. I told this story several times. She was able to take $100 and make it stretch 30 days. I don't know how she did it. You know, I was in such a bad way, depression-wise, I just couldn't get my head wrapped around how we'd lost everything. And had it not been for her and her being, you know, just the rock that she was, you know, we wouldn't have come out the way we did. So, you know, the story's called Journeyman. And yeah, it's got me on the cover, it's got me on the poster, it's got me. It's just as much her story, if not more so, you know, than it is mine. You know, so it's, you know, don't be fooled by the name, don't be fooled by the, you know, it's not my story, you know, it's our story. And it's, you know, if it had not been for her, I probably wouldn't be sitting here talking to you right now, to be quite honest.
Wow. Well, thank you for joining us today.
I appreciate you having us, man. It was great driving through the, you know, mountains up here and everything. You know, we got a rental. It was a nice day, so we figured we'd drive through the mountains a little bit and kind of take some time and kind of decompress a little bit. And you know, we've had a crazy couple of weeks or crazy couple of months from Texas to New Orleans to New York City to Las Vegas to Mississippi, and here we are in Nashville, Tennessee, and now we're going to be doing this red carpet world premiere. And I can't thank everybody enough. And you know, you guys, anytime any of you can reach out to me, I try to answer all the messages personally. You know, just bear with me if you do message me and I'm not able to get back immediately. But I am doing my best to try to get to everybody. We've been getting a lot of fan mail, a lot of, you know, Facebook messages and Twitter, and I'm, you know, really trying to make sure that we answer all those individually.